2025 has barely reached its midpoint, and already we've seen games that feel like they came straight out of a list of favorites. Amid so many releases, some titles managed to go beyond expectations and truly delivered something unforgettable. Today's list brings together the best single-player games released this year so far. These are the ones you start playing and instantly know they'll stick with you for a long time. There's a bit of everything, big titles, surprises, but the key is that all of them are worth your time. If you're looking for something new to play, this video is for you. I'm Jax, and if you're new here, welcome to the Play Hunters channel. I bring daily content so you won't miss any details of the gaming world. If you could subscribe to help me grow, I'd be thrilled from one gamer to another. First up, Dynasty Warriors Origins takes us back to the early conflicts that shaped the Three Kingdoms era. The game focuses on the collapse of a dynasty and the power vacuum left behind, triggering fierce competition among military leaders vying for control. Combat still revolves around facing hordes of enemies, but it's now smoother and more responsive. Special abilities have a more visually impactful presence and can turn the tide of a battle. The world feels far more alive. The environments depict devastated fields, crumbling fortresses, and cities ravaged by war, all with a more realistic art style. Even with the fast pace, it's clear there's attention to detail in every battle. The feeling of being part of something grand is ever present. This new approach shows that the franchise still has power and room to surprise. Next, we have Synduality Echo of Ada, set in a future where humanity struggles to survive after a climate catastrophe made much of the Earth uninhabitable. The story revolves around underground colonies, resource conflicts, and a curious relationship between humans and artificial intelligences known as Magus. The protagonist embarks on a journey with an AI named Ada, facing external threats while uncovering secrets of a forgotten past. It's a plot that blends heavy sci-fi with themes of identity and trust. The gameplay mixes third-person shooting with exploration of both enclosed and open environments, using highly customizable mechs. Combat is dynamic, with an emphasis on mobility, special abilities, and the cooperation between pilot and AI. There are direct missions, but also room for exploration and narrative choices that influence the campaign's progression. The feeling of piloting your robot and battling colossal monsters and machines is intense and well executed. The game adopts a detailed, futuristic style with decadent underground cities and toxic, mist-covered, desolate fields. Combat effects are well done, and the enemy design enhances the dark tone of the setting. The relationship between human and AI drives the plot, creating moments of doubt, discovery, and emotional tension. It's a story about survival, but also about connections amidst chaos. In third place, Tales of Iron 2 continues the story of a kingdom ravaged by war, now threatened by an ancient force from the frozen north. The conflict intensifies when old borders are breached, and the survival of the people depends on uniting rival clans. The narrative becomes darker, focusing on honor, responsibility, and the consequences of past decisions. Each new area unveils memories of what was lost and what may still be saved. The combat remains firm, demanding precision and patience. Timely dodges, well-placed blocks, and precise counterattacks make all the difference. Enemies are brutal, each with their own patterns, and the boss fights are memorable duels. The map has expanded, introducing new regions, secret paths, and more elaborate side missions. Evolving equipment and discovering new combinations become crucial as the challenge grows. The art continues with its hand-drawn charm, reinforcing the dense, melancholic atmosphere. Animations are smoother, environments are more varied, and the soundtrack fits each tense moment. Even though it's a direct sequel, everything here feels bigger and more polished. Tales of Iron 2 stays true to the first game, but isn't afraid to take risks. And that's why it surprises those who thought it would just be more of the same. In fourth place, Monster Hunter Wilds expands the series' universe with a new wilderness filled with unprecedented creatures and a story involving ancient ruins and a forgotten civilization. This time, hunting isn't just about survival. There's an ongoing investigation into the collapse of ecosystems and the origins of increasingly aggressive creatures. The narrative ties into the environment, unveiling secrets as you explore. Everything is mysterious, dense, and constantly filled with discovery. Movement now stands out even more. The use of mounts, natural transitions between maps, and new tracking tools create a fluid exploration rhythm. Combat remains demanding, with subtle changes in weapons and abilities that encourage new strategies. There's more depth in the preparation system, with dynamic monster reactions and behaviors that shift with the weather and time of day. The world breathes. Winds carry dust across endless deserts, storms alter the terrain, and every biome feels alive. The setting is more organic, less of a hunting zone and more of a hostile territory. Visually, the colossal creatures, intricate details in the equipment, and striking impact effects impress. It's a game that doesn't just expand the formula. It makes you rethink how to approach each mission. In 5th place, the first Berserker Khazan plunges into a brutal and bloody world, where honor, brutality, and revenge go hand in hand. The story follows the fall of a once-acclaimed warrior who now returns to face those who betrayed him and the remnants of a decaying empire. Each new battle carries a tragic tone, and the setting is filled with ancient conflicts, corrupted monsters, and an insatiable thirst for justice. The journey is intense, emotional, and packed with narrative weight. Right from the early hours, the combat reveals itself as fast, violent, and technical. Here, every strike needs to be thought through, every dodge matters, and there's no room for error. The movement is fluid, yet impactful, and the combos become a dance between life and death. The game challenges you constantly, not with the number of enemies, but with their aggression and unpredictability. The progression system values mastery and adaptation, not just accumulation of points. The environments aren't mere backdrops. They're filled with symbols, broken statues, ruined walls, and the marks of a past that insists on revealing itself. The art direction relies on cold colors, strong contrasts, and dense, almost suffocating settings. This heavy atmosphere accompanies each step of the narrative, creating a constant sense of urgency. It's the kind of game that engages you not only through action, but through what it carries in its subtext. In 6th place, Assassin's Creed Shadows is the game that shows Ubisoft finally getting it right. The setting in Japan is everything we've been waiting for years, and it works beautifully. The story places you in the middle of political struggles, fragile alliances, and wars in every corner, while you progress with 2 totally opposing styles, one stealthy, the other brutal. Even with some cliches, the narrative holds strong, brings tension, and still finds space for some good surprises. Combat requires more than just attacking. You need to observe, defend, and know when to act. Stealth has also been revitalized with tools and mechanics that really change your approach. The map is cleaner, the pace is more direct, and the missions give you true freedom of choice. Each character has their own way, limitations, and strengths, making the gameplay varied and less automatic. Even the investigation system has been revamped, making you think more. The environments not only impress, but behave dynamically. Weather changes, natural cycles, and cities with their own life make the world feel like it's in constant motion. Nothing here feels thrown together. Everything has purpose. And while not everything is perfect, it's clear that care was put into every decision. Ubisoft has finally managed to balance ambition with focus, delivering something that captivates from start to finish. In 7th place, Civilization VII keeps the essence of the series, but brings a more accessible and dynamic approach, without losing depth. The goal is still to build an empire that survives through time. The AI has received important tweaks and reacts more coherently to what happens on the map. Diplomacy, for example, is less stiff and more reactive, allowing alliances and betrayals that make sense in context. Exploration, expansion, and management remain the core of the game. Everything is cleaner and more elegant, with smooth animations and subtle effects that keep the map alive. The advisors have been revamped and help without bombarding you with text. What makes it all work so well is the balance between modernization and maintaining the soul of the game. It's easy to lose track of time while playing, and that's, in the end, what has always made Civilization so addictive. In 8th place, Avowed introduces a new universe, but with that unmistakable touch of well-crafted RPGs. The story takes place in a world ravaged by a mysterious plague, where ancient magics, forgotten pacts, and warring kingdoms fuel a plot full of intrigue. From the very first dialogues, you can feel the weight of choices, which shape not only the paths of the narrative, but also how the characters react to you. The gameplay blends first-person combat with traditional weapons and magic, offering real freedom when facing challenges. Each build greatly changes how you interact with the world, whether by relying on long-range spells, quick swords, or even diplomatic solutions. The regions are quite different from each other, with hidden areas, secret factions, and parallel stories that are worth discovering. Even though it's a new universe, everything feels alive and full of history. The dialogues are well written, the locations have their own identity, and even the books scattered throughout the scenery carry pieces of a forgotten past. Obsidian managed to combine the style of classic RPGs with a modern approach, without losing depth. You can see that this world still has so much to reveal, and that makes it even more intriguing. In ninth place, Assetto Corsa EVO comes with the clear proposal of taking simulation to the next level. It's not just about driving well, it's about understanding the car, the road, the weather, and every little detail that influences your race. The game dives deep into realistic physics, but now with a more refined telemetry system and precise responses to every type of terrain. All of this with immersion that goes beyond the track. The game modes are varied, with championships, quick races, and technical challenges, but the real novelty lies in how the cars behave. Each vehicle requires adaptation. Changing a part or adjusting tire pressure makes a huge difference. The AI has also been improved, now reacting like real rivals who make mistakes, force overtakes, and defend their positions. Everything feels much closer to a real race. The graphics have been updated with detailed textures and impressive scenery, but it's in the weather effects that the game truly shines. Rain changes your visibility, the wet track affects every curve, and the sound of the tires skidding puts you right in the cockpit. Even though it's geared towards simulation enthusiasts, Assetto Corsa EVO is inviting enough for anyone wanting to try something more technical without feeling lost. In 10th place, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 deepens the bold proposition of the first game, delivering a medieval RPG with no magical creatures, focused entirely on historical facts and human decisions. The story unfolds amidst the chaos of a region marked by political wars, betrayals, and power struggles between nobles and religious figures. Everything is told with a slower pace, almost documentary-like, where even the dialogues carry weight and context. You're not a hero, but someone trying to find their place in a broken world. This sense of being just another piece in the grand scheme makes everything even more immersive. The gameplay remains demanding, full of systems that don't forgive carelessness. Combat requires attention, technique, and preparation. There's no room for mindlessly attacking anyone. Taking care of your horse, eating, sleeping, and even keeping your clothes clean are essential for progress. The reputation system shapes relationships with NPCs, who follow their own routines and react to your actions naturally. Missions emerge organically, some only occurring if you're in the right place at the right time. The world is open, but it doesn't guide you constantly, which encourages calm exploration. What truly impressed me was how everything feels interconnected. The environments are vast and richly detailed, from castles to small villages, with dirt paths that become familiar over time. Interactions are less predictable, and choices matter even in the smallest gestures. The graphics have taken a leap, combat is more fluid, and the feeling of living in that medieval reality has never been so strong. It's the kind of game that rewards you for observing, listening, and reacting, not just for running to the objective marked on the map. In 11th place, Split Fiction presents a world divided not only by conflicts, but by parallel realities that coexist and overlap. The story follows a city split between two different futures, where the decisions you make in one directly affect the other. The plot builds layers of political, ethical, and emotional tension, playing with the concept of simultaneous choices. Nothing is completely right or wrong, and everything depends on the perspective or the dimension you're in. The gameplay revolves around switching between these two worlds, whether to solve puzzles, cross environments, or face enemies. Some paths are only accessible in one of the dimensions, and certain information can only be obtained if you know the exact moment to switch. Combat mixes direct action with strategies based on manipulating the environment. Gradually, the duality mechanic becomes second nature, and you start seeing the scenario as a moving puzzle. More than just a visual tool, this reality switching defines the rhythm of the adventure. Environments reconstruct themselves before your eyes, with subtle differences that hide new possibilities. Elements from the past and future mix, creating an unstable but fascinating atmosphere. The game doesn't hand everything to you. You need to observe, test, and, above all, pay attention. It's this constant interaction with the unexpected that makes Split Fiction so striking. In 12th place, The Stone of Madness throws you into an 18th century asylum, where reality and delusion blur with every step. The story follows a group of patients trying to escape, each with their own distorted view of the world. The plot tackles mental health with sensitivity, yet boldly, showing how fear and disorientation can shape the entire journey. It's one of those games that keeps you uncomfortable, yet curious the entire time. The core mechanic revolves around managing characters, each with phobias and traumas that directly influence gameplay. Exploring the asylum requires caution, as the longer you stay in an area, the more your sanity unravels. Solving puzzles, avoiding guards, and managing mental crises become part of the challenge. Everything is done with a light layer of real-time strategy, demanding quick decisions while still paying attention to the character's behavior. Few games represent the chaos of a human mind so well. The environment changes subtly, with elements distorting as characters break down. The art combines delicate illustrations with grotesque moments, and the soundtrack follows this instability. The game doesn't force horror, but grips you with psychological tension. Each new wing explored seems to hide something darker, and understanding what's real or not becomes just as important as escaping. In 13th place, Sniper Elite Resistance takes the franchise into a less grandiose and more personal war, focusing on silent missions in the heart of occupied territories. The narrative revolves around sabotage and targeted assassinations, where every isolated action directly impacts the surrounding conflicts. The game builds this tension well, placing you in situations where silence is more valuable than strength. There's no rush, no epic music playing in the background, just the sound of your breath before pulling the trigger. Everything is constructed around an atmosphere of oppression and caution. Each mission feels like a small story within a much larger conflict. The gameplay offers open maps, alternative routes, unpredictable patrols, and a shooting physics system that remains flawless. Nothing is exaggerated, but everything demands precision from aiming to the sound of a single misstep. The game forces you to think before acting, to observe the behavior of guards, and to take advantage of openings intelligently. You can spend hours preparing the perfect attack, clearing the area without anyone noticing. Even those who prefer more action can create distractions and improvise, but they know that any mistake could cost dearly. This controlled freedom gives the game a unique rhythm. What really captivates is how everything seems to work together. The environments are rich in detail, with villages and military bases that feel alive. The lighting works well with natural hiding spots, and the distance of shots makes combat tense and unpredictable. The main objectives can almost always be solved in more than one way, giving a constant feeling of total control. Even when things go off plan, you can adapt, escape, or start over. It's a game about patience and precision, where every advance comes from your reading of the environment. In 14th place, Big Helmet Hero surprises with a lighthearted, fun approach entirely centered on combat customization and dynamic arenas. The story is simple. You're part of a group of unlikely heroes trying to prove their worth in a chaotic and exaggerated world. Everything revolves around progress through increasingly insane battles, where each piece of armor and weapon collected completely changes your style. It's as if each battle were a crazy parade of hilarious yet effective gear. Combat is fast, direct, and has a comedic touch that lightens everything up. Short rounds put you against a variety of opponents, requiring quick thinking and frequent changes in tactics. The exaggerated physics makes everything more unpredictable, but never unfair. Customizing your warrior becomes almost like a mini puzzle of combinations. Each piece has weight, effect, and even different behavior, creating dozens of playstyles based on the weapons and armor you build. What stands out most is how the game approaches customization with creativity. Nothing is purely cosmetic. Everything alters gameplay in some way, whether through range, speed, resistance, or even animations. The environments are colorful and filled with interactive elements, like catapults, traps, and moving platforms. You can spend hours testing absurd combinations just to see what works. Among so many serious games, this one manages to stay light without losing depth. In 15th place, Moons of Darsalon blends nostalgia with creativity in a game that feels straight out of a lost arcade era. The story takes place in abandoned space colonies, where your mission is to rescue scientists and take them to safe points, facing dangerous terrain and alien creatures. Everything is told with humor and retro style, with dialogues that play on sci-fi cliches and a universe full of personality. The gameplay is based on physics and requires refined control of jumps, jetpacks, and tools that help with movement. The characters you need to rescue are stubborn, so commanding them feels almost like solving a real-time puzzle. You dig, build platforms, and avoid traps while trying to keep the team safe. It's not just about jumping from point A to B. It's about managing risks, testing paths, and improvising constantly. The soundtrack follows the retro vibe and fits perfectly with the rhythm of the levels. The environments are varied, with caves, abandoned stations, and surfaces full of obstacles created by the game's own physics. It's one of those games that challenges your patience, but rewards you with moments of pure satisfaction when everything goes right. Creative, challenging, and full of charm. In 16th place, 33 Immortals introduces a bold idea of large-scale combat with dozens of players at the same time, but with a focus on progression and cooperative action in a roguelite style. Even though it leans more towards multiplayer, the game allows you to join matches solo and explore the world while trying to survive waves of enemies and challenges. The setting draws inspiration from religious and mythological concepts, creating an epic and mysterious backdrop. The battles are intense, fast-paced, and focus on synergy between abilities. You choose a class, collect upgrades, and face massive bosses and maps filled with traps and secrets. With each new attempt, the challenge subtly shifts, forcing you to adapt. Even amidst the chaos on screen, it's possible to develop strategies, improve your reflexes, and go further with every match. The variety of powers and weapons ensures that every build has its own identity and impact on the group. The visuals stand out with bold colors and exaggerated effects that don't hinder the readability of combat. The art style resembles cartoons, but with a darker tone and rich symbolism. The levels are short and well-designed, perfect for those seeking quick but action-packed sessions. Despite the name suggesting a completely collective experience, the game works well even when playing solo and surprises by balancing scale, intensity, and style in a formula that works. In 17th place, Atelier Yumia continues the legacy of the series with a story blending magic, alchemy, and discoveries on a new continent full of mysteries. The plot revolves around the search for rare ingredients and ancient artifacts, while the world is slowly revealed with isolated villages, forgotten ruins, and characters holding important secrets. It's a peaceful journey, yet full of details that make each small mission worth it. The alchemy system remains the heart of the gameplay, with dozens of possible combinations and unpredictable results. Crafting items isn't just a mandatory task. It's a process involving gathering, studying, and experimenting. With every new creation, you feel like you're evolving and understanding the game better. Exploration is rewarding, with hidden areas and resources that only appear under certain conditions. Everything has its own rhythm, calm yet captivating. The visual style continues to charm, with colorful settings, soft textures, and magical effects that fit well with the theme. The soundtrack is light and helps maintain the constant sense of discovery. The turn-based battles are dynamic enough to keep the rhythm of the adventure flowing, and the evolution system allows you to create your own combat style. Even while following the series formula, this installment manages to bring a new world that invites hours of exploration. In 18th place, Wanderstop blends action, narrative, and simulation in an unconventional way. The story follows a warrior who decided to leave battles behind, and now runs a small tea shop in a magical forest. Her peaceful routine is interrupted by visitors with stories, requests, and conflicts that bring her past to light. Gradually, the game weaves themes of rest, healing, and reconciliation in a delicate and poetic way. The gameplay alternates between caring for the shop and interactive narrative moments, always with choices that affect the small details of daily life. There's no rush, no grand objective. The focus is on connecting with others, engaging in conversations, and performing simple rituals that transform the environment around you. You prepare drinks, organize the space, and listen to stories, each with its own weight. It's a game that relies on contemplation and silence as central mechanics. The visuals resemble an illustrated tale with soft colors, bold strokes, and a cozy atmosphere. Even with little movement or action, the world is rich with life and personality, as if everything breathes alongside the protagonist. The way the game breaks expectations by trading swords for teapots not only surprises, but also creates an uncommon emotional connection. It's one of those games that doesn't follow formulas, and that's what makes it memorable. In 19th place, Afterlove EP delivers a sensitive story about grief, love, and new beginnings, set in the vibrant city of Jakarta. You play as a young person trying to move on after the loss of someone important, while dealing with dreams, memories, and the rebuilding of their routine. Everything unfolds between everyday commitments, encounters with friends, and fragments of the past that emerge unexpectedly. The narrative is personal and carried out with great care. The decisions you make affect how the protagonist sees the world and interacts with others. Each day has its own rhythm, and you choose where to go, who to talk to, and how to deal with the emotions that arise. There are also mechanics tied to music, as the character plays in a band and expresses much of what they feel through lyrics and rehearsals. The game never rushes you, leaving space to interpret situations in your own way, with choices that seem small but shape the journey. The art style catches your eye with simple, expressive lines that blend comics, poetry, and animation. The city feels alive, full of sounds, movements, and locations that help tell the story without needing big dramatic scenes. It's a game that talks about absence, but also about presence, about being there, even if broken, trying to make something new emerge from what remains. It's one of those games you feel more than you just play. Next, we have Phantom Breaker Battlegrounds Ultimate, making a grand return with a revamped version of one of the most stylish beat-em-ups in recent years. The story pits you against an interdimensional threat that transforms the city streets into a battlefield filled with bizarre creatures. With a touch of anime and wild brawling, the game focuses on frantic action right from the start, blending a simple narrative with striking visuals. The gameplay is easy to understand, but full of nuances. Combos grow as you level up, and each character has unique attacks that open up strategic possibilities. The pace is fast, with enemies coming at you from all sides and battles that require quick reflexes. There are also RPG elements, with skill points and upgrades that make combat increasingly satisfying. Playing solo or in local co-op significantly changes the rhythm and the way you approach the challenges. What truly makes this game stand out is its super detailed and animated pixel art style. Everything pulses with energy, from neon-lit streets to special attacks that explode on the screen. The menus, effects, and transitions have a polish that recalls the classic 90s games, but with a modern twist that keeps everything fresh. It's the kind of game you boot up just for a few quick fights, and before you know it, hours have passed. The next game is Atomfall, which takes science fiction in a different direction, swapping futuristic cliches for a devastated world caused by a nuclear accident in an alternate 1950s England. The government hides secrets, cults form around radiation, and what's left of society clings to any form of control. In the middle of it all, you need to figure out what happened, and what's still about to happen. Exploring this world feels like walking through a museum of chaos. Abandoned farms, dark forests, and buildings that still breathe tension. The missions follow a more investigative rhythm, alternating between calm moments and violent, unexpected encounters. Combat and stealth blend with survival elements, requiring constant attention to the environment. Each discovery pushes you closer to an uncomfortable truth. What stood out most to me was the constant feeling of distrust. No one is trustworthy. Every conversation carries weight, and the environmental details tell stories without saying a word. The atmosphere is heavy with tension, with muted colors and muffled sounds that enhance the discomfort. It's the kind of game that doesn't scream at you, but gradually consumes you, and it works perfectly within the proposal. I'm leaving an immersive gameplay video of the first hour of Atomfall in the card. Check it out. The game is fantastic. And tell me, what did you think of this list? Have you played any of these games, or are you eager to try one? If you can, please subscribe to the channel to help me grow and never be uncertain about what to play again. Big hugs, enjoy the game, and see you tomorrow.